All right, we are broadcasting live. Welcome and thank you for joining us at Phil's First Party Show. I'm Phil Sanoff, trial lawyer at Morgan & Morgan's Insurance Recovery Group. With Morgan & Morgan's Insurance Recovery Group, we've got 55 lawyers in 25 offices, 13 states across the country. If you've got a problem with an insurance claim, we bet we can help you. You can reach us through our website, forthepeople.com. Any cell phone, hit pound LAW. That'll connect you to us. And even though my wife always says I'm crazy, I give my phone number out on the internet all the time. 713-825-3444. Use one of those methods. You got a problem with an insurance claim, get to us. We'll see what we can do to help you. I am so delighted tonight to be joined by my friend Kris Kincaid with Kincaid Roofing Company. Kris, hit that magic button. There he is. Welcome to the show, Kris. Thank you for joining us. For those of you that don't know Kris, Kris, I believe, is a lifelong resident of Lubbock, Texas. Kris got into the insurance restoration roofing industry in 2001, chased his first hailstorm as a salesman in Omaha, Nebraska. Eventually went back to school. I'm going to have Kris tell that story a little bit. I didn't give you notice on that, but I think there's a story to that. Got his Bachelor of Fine Arts degree from Texas Tech University, guns up. My daughter is a proud graduate. In 2005, then started Kincaid Roofing from the ground up in Lubbock, Get Down, Texas in 2006. Over the last 15, 16 years has become a leader in the West Texas market, is a proud member. Kris, I'm going to have to let you tell the rest of it. I know you don't like to toot your own horn, but welcome to the show and tell us a little bit about Kincaid Roofing.
Well, you covered a lot of it, Philip. Started in 2005, graduated from Texas Tech University, started in 2006, and, chasing hailstorms all through college and working for local companies. I understood what was going on and had the entrepreneurial spirit and figured, I think I can do this, and probably kicking myself in the butt for getting a fine arts degree, not a business degree, but I've learned everything probably the hard way. So just, been in Lubbock for my whole life, and then Kincaid Roofing is our 16th year. We do a lot of commercial and residential work. We're proud to be an Owens Corning Platinum Contractor for the last 5 or 6 years. It's been a great partnership. And we're also certified to do commercial work with NDL warranties with GAF and Johns Manville. I used to chase storms and leave my now wife. But now, one goal when I was starting my own business was I want to be home and start a good local business to stay home and sleep at home at night. I've got a lot of friends that don't, and that chase the storms. That's in them. But I've got a local company, and we stay busy whether we have a storm or not. So that's a good feeling.
I want to call you out in a good way. One of the things that folks ought to know about Kris Kincaid, before I really personally knew Kris, we knew a lot of the same people, knew of each other and about each other. Every time I'd go to a conference, it was one that Kris couldn't attend. Every time Kris would go to one, it was one I couldn't attend. But before Kris and I met each other on Facebook, one night for my daughter, as we often do, I put a fundraiser up for her dance company in Chicago. Not too long after I posted, if you feel inclined, my daughter's taking donations for her new dance company. They give out dance scholarships to underprivileged, less privileged dancers there in the Chicago area. And a few minutes after I clicked post, I get a call from my daughter, "Daddy, who is Kris Kincaid?" I said, "Well, Kris Kincaid is a roofing guy that I know." "What do you mean, baby?" "Well, there's a guy named Kris Kincaid that just donated to our Forward the Movement dance company." And so I think people need to know that about you, your heart and your servant leadership and the way that you give and do for others. And right here in public, I just wanted a chance to say how grateful I am to know you and what a great person you are. The world needs more people like you.
Well, I appreciate it, Philip. The arts are near and dear to me. Like I said, I've got an art education degree. My dad was a professional artist. My mom was an art teacher. So, it's important to support stuff like that. So here in Lubbock, we're involved with I'm on boards with the Medici Circle for art scholarships. And so that's something a lot of times goes underlooked or overlooked. So I was happy to do it, man.
Man, thank you. Thank you for that. Now that I know you a little more than when you donated to my daughter's gig, I have the great fortune. If you folks ever need a roof, y'all need to go to Lubbock, get down Texas, get yourself a Kincaid Roofing Yeti. If you're thirsty on a show sometime, you can
there you go.
Get your drink of water out of your Kincaid Roofing Yeti cup.
I appreciate it.
You bet, brother. You bet. So we're here to always talk about issues that are timely and topical in the insurance restoration industry. That's certainly going to focus on all this COVID-19 virus issue these days. Tell us how COVID-19 has affected Kincaid Roofing operations in general over the last several weeks.
Oh, in general, we're a blessed industry to be considered essential. We luckily had a decent backlog, especially for first quarter. But as far as, a good example of how it has affected us, we had a decent little hailstorm about 3 weeks ago. Hail Trace even gave it a 3-star map. Well, it wasn't, but it was decent enough to get the phones ringing. And literally, this is right after, everything really hit. Not a call, nothing. And so that's really odd. And, it was an area that had just been hit and recently replaced, but still, there are skylights getting replaced and stuff like that. So, it's something right after that. Usually our phones or calls. I'm getting texts, all my friends. Hey, send me pictures of hail and stuff like that. And there was none of that. So, but last week we had probably 15, 20 leads come in, which is really, really good. And a lot of it was existing claims, and a few of them were new. So we're not hugely impacted yet, but the longer this thing goes, the worse it is for everybody.
I didn't know about that storm that you mentioned a second ago. Let's put that in context for folks that are with us now, and we're going to record this and put it out on YouTube, put it on different podcasting platforms. So as we go, people can come back and reference this. To put that in context, that a storm like that your phones didn't ring, you didn't get your cell phone burning up, you didn't get pictures. Tell us what would be a normal, if you can, I know nothing's normal, but in general, how can we put that in context? What type of volume of number of jobs would you typically have expected to get from a storm like that 2 years ago? Or if it happens 2 years from now and we're past it, give us some context for that.
I would say, immediately my phone, I'd have 20 text messages. And it wasn't a huge area that got hit, but enough that, I would have gotten something. I would have said the next day we would have had 30 phone calls, 40, something like that, to go look at, cover up skylights and stuff like that. So the other thing is, the roofs are brand new over there. They've been replaced in the last 2 years, so they're going to be a little bit tougher to damage. But there's still, it was enough that should have got some action. So, and
you
there's
got
some
no calls. You got zero.
not to speak, not that week, And I believe that date was 26th of March.
Wow.
There's some, a lot of the stormers followed the reports and saw the 3-star hail report and, came into town and probably have since left. But it wasn't, it was just the conditions weren't right to get it going. Right. Plus this hail was a little soft too.
Okay. Now I jumped over something I wanted to pull you back to. So as I'm learning how to do this late night web show type show, I'm going back to something from the lead in. As I recall, there's a story about how chasing storms bit you as a young man. Didn't you go off and not go back to school for a semester or something of that nature? Had to make some amends with the folks later on getting back in? Tell that story if you would.
Well, it was one of those, I was well along in my college career and had an opportunity to go to make good money. And my mom, she wanted me to finish my education, and she knew probably if I went off and made good money, I wouldn't want to come back and be an art teacher, or just finish my degree. And sure enough, I sold all summer, made more money than I ever had made. And then I realized, that the 15 jobs that I hadn't got collected, I wasn't going to get paid for them unless I collected them. So I took a semester off and have not lived that down since. But so it took me another half a year to get out of that. But right after that, 9/11 hit. And so that's one of those times when I've never felt farther away from home. I was already taking a leap as left my now wife behind. We've been together for 8 years, and leaving everybody behind to do that. Then 9/11 happens, and I was home. I left a few jobs out and
finally had to go. But you made up for it. You went back. You've got your Bachelor of Fine Arts degree.
That's
Mom's
right.
Happy. Life is good.
I got good logos. That's about all it helped me with.
Let me, I know you can't really make out the greatest piece of the logo when it's scattered across a Yeti cup, but those are some pretty nice logos. Let me tell all our listeners, anybody that sees this later on YouTube or hears it on a podcast platform, go look up Kincaid Roofing on the internet, find their logo. That's from that Bachelor of Fine Arts degree, Texas Tech. Guns up. Woohoo.
There you go.
All right, brother. Well, anyone that knows me, and you that particularly that know me, coming and giving a little bit of a presentation to the Lubbock Area Roofing Contractors Association, know that I like to do things in threes. People remember things in threes. I think three is a magic number. If you could focus on three things affecting the industry now, maybe things that are different now, 3 points that roofing contractors need to be aware of to do things differently or help them survive. Mm-hmm. List those three things, then we'll go through one by one and put some meat on those bones.
Sure. So when we talked about this earlier, it got me to thinking just in the natural progression of selling a roof or being a contractor would be generating leads. So your lead gen is going to be different. Door knocking is pretty much out of the question. So that's going to change up the way you get the phone to ring or to get some business. Secondly, inspections and customer interactions processes and are going to have to change with that. And third would just be selling, how you're selling, what you're selling, and flexibility in payments and giving people options, because right now this market, nobody's excited about filing a claim, nobody's excited about filing a deductible, and nobody's excited about getting their roof replaced.
All right. Well, we're going to hit on all three of those to expand on them a little bit. Remind us, and let me tell the people listening live at this point, we've got the chat open. So if you've got something you want Kris to address, please type a question in there in the chat. It'll pop up and we'll get there. So the first point about the natural progression of selling, how has Kincaid Roofing had to adapt, pivot what they would do before, and how would you recommend that other roofing contractors listening to this now or hearing it in the very near future need to realize the pivot that we need to do in that area?
The first thing is just acknowledge it with your homeowners. When they're calling in on the phone, listen, we acknowledge what's going on. How would you give them the options on how we can do an inspection? We can, they can be there. They don't have to be there. They can talk to us in person. They don't have to talk to us in person. And giving them, just acknowledging that this is what's going on and we're making changes to it. Also, just like with, and that goes down to your advertising. Some of that's expensive to change up, like your TV and stuff like that. But radio is not that tough. But just acknowledge that, hey, it's a tough time, but we're still here. And there's other ways to buy a roof than being person to person. And because depending on people's health conditions, it's just they're not gonna, they don't, if they really need a roof right then, they're not gonna want to do it in person, or they're not. So you have to give them those options. So lead generation, obviously no door knocking. So the stormers are having a really tough time because I know the game. They come in town, try to look local, and how they get business. It's not from laying groundwork from the years past. It's door knocking, and I still think door knocking is the most effective way, even as a leader in our local market. Door knocking is one of the most effective ways to get business.
Right. Now you talked about the way that it would affect your advertising. It can be expensive to change some of your marketing with your television. Radio is a little bit easier. I have found that at least for me, my industry through Morgan & Morgan, we are taking massive action. We're not backing down on our marketing and letting folks know that we're there for them. putting out the social media posts. We're here for you. We're working remotely, whatever way needs to be done to give that confidence for the marketplace that we're still here for them, anything that they need. I think you and I talk separately. Talk about that. You are a believer that you keep that going, and you got to make sure that people know you're still around.
Absolutely. So my advertising rep called right after it. April 1 was coming up. He's like, "What do you want to do?" It's a fairly large dollar amount that we're advertising on the TV right now. And I did. I mean, I had that, that sting, like, should we, stop because nobody cares about it? But, it's one of the things, repetition and branding, and also everybody's at home watching TV, or a lot of them are. And
right.
So it's just, reestablishes, what we're trying to put out as far as branding and being local and platinum certified and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I think just acknowledging it, changing stuff up. But when something significant does happen, or when somebody does need it, you're still going to be top of mind.
I've heard people talk about that phone calls are better now, or are more attractive to them because all the decision makers are typically home. You can't really worry about that someone's not going to be there, or someone's going to be on the road. I got to wait till my husband gets back in town. I got to wait till my wife gets back in town. By and large, the decision makers are around. What have you found with that? Have you been making the phone calls instead of knocking on the doors, or how does that work for Kincaid Roofing? I just don't know.
Well, with all of my salesmen, we all, number one, we don't ever tip before this. We never left a bid, just leave it in my mailbox. We're going to give you a presentation, and whether it's going to be an hour-long presentation or 10 minutes, we're going to tell you who we are and what we're about. Because, just your success of closing is so much higher. But, and secondly, with my salesmen, it's like, look, both people need to be there because, the easiest way to get out of it is, well, my wife's not home, I need to talk about it. So we talk about setting the appointment and having both partners there, decision makers there. So, but yeah, most people are home now. So it definitely does help that. And we've kind of found that, with them being home, we feel like they've researched us a little bit more and done a little bit more because they have time to who is Kincaid Roofing. Our internet traffic's up a little bit, which is, indicative of what's going on. And a lot of people really want to research and find out about you before they buy, and now they've got more time to do it.
Fantastic. Now, I will admit to you, you asked me if I wanted to write down your 3 points, and I did not. And I don't remember the second one. Now that we've expanded on the first one, tell us the second one and expand a little bit, please.
That's inspections and customer interaction. So, when leads are calling in, we're acknowledging it, asking it, saying, how would you like us to do this? If you want to be home, if you don't want to be home, if you want us to wear a mask, what their preference, because some people might look right now look at you like you're crazy if you show up with all that, right. And the other ones might look at like you're crazy if you don't. Just kind of filling out their personal preference and just once again acknowledging it. Also, like selling digitally. Owens Corning has been putting this out. I printed it, but these are links that you can send to your homeowner to explain your product, so if you're not able to sit there and do it in person, you can talk about the Sure Nail technology, or their preferred contractor program and the war and all that kind of stuff. And they're worried, and they're making it as easy for us to sell. Right. So for those people that want it digitally, and then also Zoom meetings, you and I are both talking about, there's a lot of stuff that we might not travel to more because, wow, Zoom saves time and money. But also it's not as effective. Right. But right now it's something that, it's better than leaving it in the mailbox, and it's better than just sending it to them in an email. So, giving a presentation this way, they're open to that. And then, going over some of your bullet points, you might have to show some stuff. And you can also do screen share with Zoom. So we're learning quickly, and technology is your friend at this point. But there's nothing that's going to replace person to person. Right. But right now we're just, you're gonna have to do what you got to do.
Well, and you know how much I love Lubbock. You know how much I love you. This is better for me than talking to you on the phone, but it's not as good as getting off the airplane and giving you a hug. So I'm looking forward to getting back to Lubbock. That's for sure.
Absolutely. And the other thing, we were talking about earlier too, is, we have to ask ourselves, how is this changing the insurance industry? Well, farmers, I filed a re-inspect the other day, and, the local adjuster knows me well, said, hey man, listen, just go out there, chalk it up, take the pictures like we do, document it. You can't send me enough pictures. And, we're not coming out right now. So, it's in the hail swath and there's legitimate damage, send me an estimate. So they're going right off our estimates, and
Right.
And so they're all reacting to it. State Farm's kind of the same way here. This is locally in Lubbock in this area, but I know every market's different. So, but they're making adjustments to it. And then Travelers the other day had a Travelers adjuster came out. He droned it. It was an easy roof too. It was a 5-pitch. I was surprised he droned it. But so yeah, they're all kind of doing it different. So it's interesting that farmers is being so conservative about it. So here, you guys basically chalk it up, document the damage, and send it to us.
Well, and I think that's a testament to you, Kris, and to Kincaid Roofing. Let me make a pitch for you. I know it's different in every market. I've had some folks that I've talked to, some on the show, that have public adjusters that are the same thing, getting estimates paid, get us the right pictures, get us an estimate. We've worked with you. We know, what we need. But I suspect that even though it's different in every market, and we've talked to people in different markets that are getting that, I suspect not every roofing contractor in every market has got an insurance company saying, how to mark it up for us, go do it. So let me give some kudos and credit to Kincaid Roofing for doing the right thing the right way.
I appreciate, and you might be right, with farmers. I mean, we know, we're local. We know all the guys, all the local adjusters, unless it's catted. But we've got relationships there, and they know who the good guys and the bad guys are in the market. And then they can see an estimate, know what's legit and what's not. And so,
right.
But that might have had something to do with it.
I'm going to do a shameless plug or two for you, even though I know you don't come on here to do that. So,
no.
All right. Now, I think there was a third point on the magic of threes. I like to do 3 points. Yeah. I think we've expanded on the first two. What's your third point? And tell us a little bit more about it, please.
So the third one is just selling. How are you selling? Right now, people are going to be conservative with their money. A lot of people have been affected with it and say they do need a new roof. We think it's important to give them options. How are you going to pay? So, whether it's the deductible or the whole roof, I think, a lot of people, we've started FMD, a way to fund my deductible. There's no interest. There's no qualifying, just set up monthly payments, and our system processes it and gives them the option to make, affordable payments that everybody can afford. And then also FMD is now teaming with a finance company to finance. So some people in this market, they get a $15,000 check, they've got back bills, they want to, they still need a roof, finance the roof, they can make payments on it, $400 or $500, whatever they set it up on, and still have that money, the initial money, to pay off what they need till they get caught up. So I think just flexibility and letting people know, giving them options to pay instead of just pay everything up front. That's, and also adding value is going to be key too. Is what else? What different value you're going to give them this time, and how it's different from before.
Well, let's talk about that. I'm a big fan of Kincaid Roofing. I'm a big fan of FMD. We're going to have your business partner Ryan Davis on to talk more about FMD in one of the upcoming shows. How else does Kincaid Roofing add the value to them to kind of distinguish yourself in this difficult market?
Just giving them options instead of doing, whether it's with what you're putting on their roof, if it's, upgrades with ventilation, or being patient is going to be a big deal. Yes, I need a roof, but I can't do it right now. Even with these options, can we start, 2 or 3 months? So I also think just all the business owners, and I'm no guru by any means, but just, setting expectations this year. So, I was talking to another leader in this market, Jerry Andrus, and we're like, look, even if we get pounded by a big storm, it's not going to be the same year as it would have been without the virus.
Right.
People are going to hold money and spend it differently. And they might, it's a different market. Money is looked at different. Maybe a recession, maybe not, but it's a little bit more bearish on people holding on to it and not spending it, and just, and then, the ones they know, I've got a deductible. That's definitely coming out of my pocket. How are we going to do that? And a lot of people don't have that $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000 like we see here in Texas deductible, even in good times, much less right now. So giving them options, whether you're set up with a finance company or FMD where you can fund it, but giving them something to be able to make those payments and not just, come right out of their pocket at the same time.
Now, we're going to have Ryan on, as I say, sometime next week to talk more about FMD. But my question to you about FMD now, not to take any thunder from Ryan's show, we'll go back.
Oh, he'll talk enough.
People are going to see this from more than just Texas, and people are going to hear this more than just Texas. From my understanding, it is, you're a Texas roofing contractor. There's a new law in Texas about contractors can't waive deductibles anymore. And so my question for you now is, has FMD considered, or is it already helping folks with deductibles and financing and funding beyond Texas? Again, I just don't know. I'm wondering to let our listeners know.
Absolutely. We've got, I don't know how many states, I should, but I'd say at least 30 states right now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. House Bill 2102, you know, it was kind of the norm in Texas, and it was really hard. You know, when you have contractors out there constantly doing our advertising to do it, but now we feel like it's really got some teeth. Is the bill perfect? No. There's a lot of guys that, you know, are naysayers about it, but in our experience here in Lubbock, the local market, talking to other contractors, yeah, it's working. And giving them this option to fund the deductible, because, you know, even people that you think have money don't have, you know, the scratch for $3,000 or $4,000. But, you know, as long as you can turn in our funded agreement to the insurance company saying, just like a financing agreement or a canceled check, they will release depreciation. So it's an intent to pay, and we think it's going to be great.
I bet Ryan will know exactly how many states when we get him on here next week.
If he doesn't, he will then.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, no. And you know, Colorado's got a deductible law. Florida's got a pretty tough deductible law. It's actually a felony in Florida, I believe. So I think, you know, so goes Texas, so goes the nation. And so,
sure.
You know, it's something I think is going to be more up and coming. I think Oklahoma's looking at it next. And that way, you know, contractors aren't overinflating their invoices to cover the deductible. And, you know, it helps everybody out. You know, then contractors that have not been covering the deductibles aren't competing against guys that are going to do it. And, you know how it goes, but
sure.
So this is, you know, we feel like a creative option that's super easy for people to set these deductible payments up on a plan, you know, and just get them paid.
Fantastic. And as you say, in this changing market time, all this uncertainty, folks need those options. Folks need that flexibility. Even Absolutely. The folks that didn't before certainly would be appreciative and be able to use it now.
Absolutely.
Well, I promised you when you agreed to come on with me that we're going to try to keep it to half an hour this evening. I know you're home with your wife and kids. I don't want to take too much of your family time. We're coming up on 30 minutes. We don't have any questions up on the chat room. Let me tell all the listeners, if you've got any questions, get it up there quick, because I'm getting ready to get Chris's last point, and then we're going to get off of here and give Kris back to his family.
But we're just lucky nobody busted in.
I would have loved to have seen him. I would have loved for him to bust in.
You know, I think this, you know, a parting point is just to set real expectations and be patient with your homeowners, with the insurance companies. You know, everybody is adapting as fast as they can. And I think, and I'm an optimist. So I'm not trying to say, oh, you know, set your expectations, but just set your expectations and acknowledge what's going on and adapt. You know, that's something that's not easy, but everybody's got to adapt. And some guys don't as fast, but
right.
Market, you have to. So I say just be patient and be positive. And how would this permanently change your industry? Or if it does, I don't know. I hope not. We know the insurance companies would love to go to virtual inspections on everything. But I think just having a positive outlook on it and adapting to the market.
I'm big on pivot and adapt. I say pivot and adapt all the time. Well, Kris Kincaid, Kincaid Roofing, I am so grateful to you for our friendship. I am so grateful to you for your time. I see Kelly Rogers has raised her hand. So let's see what Kelly's got to say. Kelly, I'm going to allow you to talk. I'm going to hit the button that allows you to talk because you had your hand up. Let's see how this works. Here we go. Boom. I hit the magic button, Kelly.
Hi. I'm just saying hi. I'm just saying hi to my two friends. That's all.
You're just waving to wave.
I'm just waving.
Kelly, you need to know that wifey says hi to you too. I'm in my home studio and she hears me talking about Kelly Rogers coming on. So wifey says hello to you, Kelly.
Hello. I'm just proud of you both, and I just wanted to say hello.
Oh, you're great. Thanks, Kelly. Thank you so much.
Hey, Kelly.
Kelly will be a guest on here soon.
Super knowledgeable. I've learned so much from Kelly.
One of the better public adjusters to be able to help us with this knowledge this time as well.
Absolutely.
Well, Kris Kincaid, well, hold on, buddy. I keep starting to get you out of here, and I look one more time.
Who we got?
There's not a question. There's just a comment here telling us great job. I think that was meant to you more so than me. Let me express how grateful I am to Kris Kincaid, Kincaid Roofing in Lubbock. Get down, Texas. One of the finer human beings. Guns up, guns up.
Wow.
I spent the better part of 1 month, one weekend a month for 4 years when Allie was up there for her dance degree. Wish I'd known you then. We'll make up for it. We'll do some
make up for it, man.
Going forward, you bet. Well, I'm Phil Sanoff. Thank you for joining us at Phil's First Party Show. Grateful to Morgan & Morgan Insurance Recovery Group for sponsoring the show. Grateful to you, Kris Kincaid, Kincaid Roofing coming on. And we will see you. Be sure to join us next Tuesday for Phil's First Party Show, where we'll go at this again. Thanks very much, guys.
Thanks, Phil.
Good night.